Did you ever ponder how a war could be cold? Welcome, history enthusiasts, to our deep dive into the Cold War. Our tale begins in the aftermath of World War II, as the world was divided into two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. Each held a powerful grip on their respective halves of the globe, creating a tense balance of power. Out of this tension, the Iron Curtain was born, a metaphorical division splitting east from west. This divide was more than just physical. It marked an ideological battleground, pitting democracy against communism. It was a contest of influence and ideals, not soldiers and tanks. The stage was set for an arms race and a space race, where the weapons were not just nuclear missiles, but also satellites and space shuttles. So, the stage was set for a war, not of bullets and bombs, but of ideologies and influence. With the stage set, how did the superpowers maneuver this unseen battlefield? As the Cold War got underway, the Truman Doctrine emerged as a significant milestone. President Harry S. Truman, in 1947, announced that the United States would provide political, military, and economic assistance to all democratic nations under threat from external or internal authoritarian forces. This doctrine marked the start of the containment strategy, seeking to stop the spread of communism worldwide. The next significant event was the formation of NATO in 1949. It was a collective defense alliance that promised mutual military support if any member was attacked, primarily aimed at curbing Soviet expansion. In response, the Soviet Union formed the Warsaw Pact in 1955, escalating the tensions between the two blocs. The 1960s brought the Cuban Missile Crisis, the closest the world ever came to nuclear war. The Soviet Union had installed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles off the coast of the United States. After tense negotiations, the superpowers reached a compromise, marking a turning point in their relations. Then came the construction of the Berlin Wall in 1961, a physical symbol of the ideological divide. But it was its fall in 1989 that signaled the beginning of the end of the Cold War. Throughout the Cold War, there were shifts from confrontation to détente, a French term meaning a relaxation of tensions. This gradual shift was marked by treaties like the Strategic Arms Limitation Talks and the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. The final stages of the Cold War witnessed the significant roles of leaders like Mikhail Gorbachev of the Soviet Union and Ronald Reagan of the United States. Gorbachev introduced reforms like glasnost and perestroika, promoting openness and restructuring the Soviet economy. Reagan, on the other hand, advocated for peace through strength, pushing for a buildup of arms to negotiate from a position of power. In a war of ideologies, it was diplomacy and changing global dynamics that paved the way towards peace. So, how did this intense period of global tension come to an end? You might think it was a dramatic showdown, but in fact, the Cold War ended more with a whimper than a roar. The Soviet Union, once a formidable superpower, faced severe economic stress in the 1980s. Its centrally planned economy just couldn't keep up with the dynamism of the West. Meanwhile, political changes were also sweeping across the Eastern Bloc. The USSR's last leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, introduced policies of openness and restructuring, known as glasnost and perestroika. These reforms, while well-intentioned, only exposed the deep-rooted problems within the Soviet system. The desire for peace and the pressures for change were overwhelming. By the end of 1991, the Soviet Union was formally dissolved, symbolizing the end of the Cold War. The global landscape was forever transformed. Thus, the Cold War ended, not with a bang, but with the quiet dissolution of a superpower, leaving a single hegemon and a world forever changed.